And we are live. My name's John Paul Berg, and this is Dumb the Wiser, the show where we take some time to analyze the perpetual psyop that our country has become. I was saying yesterday in a post, it's funny. It's like the writing team for Canada this season is just weak. It's weak as fuck. Pardon the vulgarity, but it's not even remotely believable anymore. And it hasn't been for a long time. And I understand the proclivity for the masses or crowds to believe in convenient lies over blatant truth. But yeah, it's phenomenal to behold. And the most shocking part for me is that so many of you all still believe. Like presently, we have the penetrated cabinet attempting to pass bills, globalist written legislation that are in line with all of the other globalist legislation that is being passed in the other Commonwealth countries. Bill C8 and C9, evidently C2 is paused for now, but we have Bill C8 and C9. One would give Melanie Joly the express ability to just, at her own behest, decide who can and can't be on the internet and have cell phone service. It's nothing short of tyranny. There's no process to determine this. She just makes this subjective determination and does it. And a caveat to this bill is you can't even tell people that you've been kicked off the internet. So it's next level. This is like CCP style tyranny. And then you have C9, which is reinterpreting hate in Canadian law. It's a subjective determination. This law also gives police departments the ability to just make that discernment on their own. Oh, well, this is a hate crime, right? It's so atrocious, right? Hate is a subjective emotional reaction, and it varies. And it's when you get into the realm of making legislation based upon subjective or ambiguous determinants, you get into really, really sketchy territory. Sketchy territory would be an understatement for Canada. So that would be a good episode title. So I've been extraordinarily deboosted. So we got about 36 watching now. If you guys could all share the stream, it would be immensely advantageous. Again, I hear everyone saying it. It's certainly not just me, but like they're just deboosting any account on X that isn't pushing like a carefully constructed, cultivated narrative. If you're not on there blowing smoke up all of your neighbor's ass about Pierre Poilievre, the controlled opposition, or perpetuating right-left culture war issues, then you're deboosted. You're deboosted on X presently. So yeah, if everyone could share it, that would be amazing. But as I was saying, so all of these bills are being introduced and they're endeavoring to pass them. And everything that's coming from this government is like total misdirection. I think of a magician. Everyone was actually talking about C8 and C9, C2 as well. And then they put Justin Trudeau with Katy Perry on a boat somewhere. Like, who gives a fuck? Sincerely. And then controlled opposition Pierre goes on naive perspective, northern perspective, and actually tells some fictitious stories about the poor people he's betrayed. It's like, man, you didn't meet a lot of poor people if you think poor people are spending their last couple of dollars on a Conservative Party membership. I don't care how ideologically subverted they have been. That's just not happening. But then he mentions, Trudeau should be arrested, and now there's the PSYOP. And all of your social media floating heads are going to weigh in on this. It's misdirection. It's a PSYOP. What are they distracting us from? I believe the ostrich situation was ultimately a distractionary too. And even if it wasn't, it served that purpose. If we can unite regarding anything in Canada presently, it's in staunch opposition to these bills. Look at what's going on in the world. Like I hear all these political commentators in Canada that don't even have the sensibility, I will say, to look out a little broader geopolitically and what's occurring, specifically with the Commonwealth countries. 10 Commonwealth countries this year introduced digital ID, Keir Starmer being one of them. So, I mean, we could see what's happening. This is an agenda being implemented. There's external forces that are influencing the political realm. in virtually every country, but especially in the Commonwealth countries. The post-World War II order, the rules-based order, or even you can get more clandestine and call them the Anglo-American Alliance, that's very much factionalized or fractured. And what I believe we are interpreting is that. I think the big decisions occur in rooms far away from public view by individuals that we likely wouldn't even recognize. We are watching a performative charade. You might ask yourself, what's the point? Well, the performative charade, the premise of it is to provide us with the illusion of participatory governance. Canadians would be really upset if they realized that their government wasn't real. So I mean, it's just perpetuated. And it's like I say, I go hard on Pierre, the controlled opposition, because I believe he's preventing the electorate from seeing an alternative. We're literally captured by this uniparty. So I endeavor to wake people up to that. And the way people attack me now, it's like, I truly feel, and I hate to psychologize this, but I truly feel like they're projecting their own insecurities regarding him. Because anyone with two eyes right now can see what's going on. Pierre's just, he provides recitations of vacuous rhetoric, and it's scripted, and it's feckless, and it's weak. And that's what we get. So, I mean, you're watching your country just literally degenerate in real time. And then you go to look and you see the opposition with some feckless rhetoric. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how you are all still lying to yourself. And I know it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to realize that there's more that meets the eye presently. So we don't got much in the chat as of yet. But yeah, it's pretty wild on X too. Like they're deboosting a lot of people. Like it's a systematic deboosting that's occurring. And I've been deboosted since March now. Like you could see my analytics. I share the picture frequently. It's probably on my profile recently. But my account was building. I've only been on here for about 2.5 years. And I'm climbing this hill in the analytics. And then in March, when our election started, at the peak of my growth, I just dropped off a cliff, man, and I flatlined. And it wasn't just me. I have a lot of friends on here that have experienced the same algorithmic suppressions at the same time, essentially. But now it's like, it's next level. And when you complain about it, you'll get a chat bot from premium support. My account is monetized. I get a couple bucks from it. I pay the fee and everything. And I can't get any premium support. They just send me a chatbot response regarding the quality of your posts. Pick up your quality. And now Elon Musk because this is happening en masse, and so many people are like collectively complaining about this, that it's all over the platform. So I mean, now Elon is saying, "Oh yeah, Grok AI is taking over it. He's going to read your posts and check it for quality." I even seen one where he was like, "Write your post like you're speaking to one of your smart friends." It's like, this is just so transparent, man. Whatever X was for a minute there, it certainly isn't anymore. It certainly isn't anymore. They deboost and they boost selectively too. It's like I say, man, I wonder if the whole thing isn't some kind of sophisticated algorithmic propaganda tool, self-perpetuating because it's very addictive. And where in this propaganda tool, the user becomes the very propaganda. And we're put up against one another. Like they could put emphasis on any narrative. They can de-emphasize any narrative. It's pretty wild when you see the control and the manipulative potential of such technology. And I think that's personally likely what it was designed for. I mean, if watching television back in the day was like your first generation propaganda for the populace, then I mean, this sophisticated interactive one is just far, far more than that. Not to mention the amount of bots. Everything's synthetically inflated with bot likes. And everything, they'll attack you. You'll get bot attacks because they want you to be demoralized. When you're speaking out, when you're criticizing your government, you'll get a bunch of bots that are like, "You're a dummy. You didn't spell that right. Your grammar's poor." Like they want to make you feel insecure and demoralize you so you won't continue to speak out. And it's important to just, to be reasonable about that. Like just speak your mind, man. Things are crazy right now in Canada. If anything, we need people to actually give real interpretations. Like Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be admonished by the typical admonishments. We don't have that luxury presently. That's what got us in this situation. So we got Squirrel Nuts, loyal viewer. Thank you, brother. Shared the stream. If everyone else could share the stream again, I'm going to say that ad nauseum here today. So get ready for me to drive you all nuts with that. We have Elaine. I don't think we're going to change the trajectory of what's to come. If they can't get digital IDs, they're going to take us into war, in my opinion. Very possible. I mean, the whole world is bracing itself for war, even civil war in America, civil unrest, at least civil strife. But it's really happening. Like there's the geopolitical, the post-World War II order has truly factionalized. And that's what I seen with all of this, man. When I seen Trump, when he first got in this time, and he was like, it was almost like he was leveraging public sentiment against the people he was negotiating with. I would assume the oligarchs, because it was almost like in a threatening way. I'm just going to expose everything tomorrow, in a threatening way. And then tomorrow would come and nothing would get exposed. And then some kind of tentative deal was made because we didn't get any Epstein things. And I mean, I was a big Trump guy, man. Now at this point, I believe the plutocrats, the political class, are just an insulatory layer from the true ruling class. And I even think there's above that. There's the banking class, then there's the ruling class. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're like literally influenced by demons. It's such a sophisticated system of control. I'm being hyperbolous. I don't necessarily think that, but I wouldn't rule it out, actually. I take that back. I was being dead serious. But it's such a web of control that if it wasn't so inherently pernicious, you would have to stand back in awe and say, like, oh my God, like we're on this sophisticated human farm, essentially, an animal farm. You keep freezing momentarily off and on. Uh-oh. I know what it is. It's my VPN. Let me see if I can turn this off. I think I'm back. Okay, I think I'm stabilizing now. I do apologize. I had started using a VPN, hoping it would help me in the algorithms, which it did not, but it certainly slows down my internet. So I will know in the future not to start. I hope it was semi-legible. Like I hope you guys could understand the first 15 minutes. We got about 118 watching now. It would be pretty silly if I was just skipping, but here we are. So we have Tony Van. We've spent 25 billion on Ukraine, but I understand what you mean. I'm assuming what you mean, Elaine. Things are going to get dark. That's seemingly the trajectory. Don't black pill on it though, guys. Whatever's happening in some very profound way is probably above our sphere of influence. And it's not necessarily a black pill. I just think there's larger forces at play, and sometimes you just have to have a little faith. No matter what storm comes, we will persevere. I really believe that too. You could say that's naive or just overtly optimistic, but that's what I choose to be. Kirk Reese, I imagine it's been happening for years by silencing the whistleblowers. How many times have you heard a politician or influencer mention Bill C-290 whistleblower protection for Canadians? I've not heard it at all, Kirk, until you informed me of it. And your story, I'm actually going to be doing a special episode of Inlay Terms with Payman Ascari tomorrow, and we're going to sit down with Mr. Kirk Reese and go through his story, because it's a pretty crazy one. I won't get into it now too much, but Kirk was a whistleblower, and some of the things, the resistance he encountered, and just trying to do the right thing is just, it's truly shocking, and it's indicative of broader issues. Like, the whole system is just profoundly corrupt right now. It really is. But what I wanted to focus in on tonight is the almost obvious nature of these psyops now, man. And that's a word I'm using out of necessity. I guess I could say the script. But like, this season of Canada, they took we got rid of Jagmeet and Trudeau, and then we get Carney in here. And I mean, everything is just pure narrative. Like, Pierre didn't look into the election results at all, which were super sketchy. The Liberal leadership race, where two underdogs that were leading were kicked out. And if you don't realize that was an installation, that they installed a central banking WEF member to be our prime minister. That wasn't an election. And Pierre Poilievre's silence presently speaks far louder than his feckless rhetoric. But it's all kicked into overdrive. Like, everyone is, they have to. It's absolutely paramount to them efficaciously implementing the agenda for them to get these bills passed. The biggest obstacle provided to these people right now are by citizens like me and many of you that are coming on social media and calling this stuff out in real time. And that's an obstacle that these people will be desperate and are desperate to circumvent. So, I mean, that's what we're seeing. And that's just going to become more desperate. But what I'm noticing is these misdirection psyops, right? Like the ostriches right away. And I mean, I get it. The ostriches is a tragic story. I'm not trying to trivialize this, and it's indicative of broader things that are occurring. But I mean, if there was a prioritization scale right now, it has to be the censorship bills. That is the hill. If we lose the ability to criticize the regime, we are done. It's that simple. We will be absent political recourse, and that's scary, because I think Canada is in a managed decline. I think it's going to get really worse. But they're desperate for it, man. What do? They bring Dust Trudeau off, and they have him with Katy Perry on a boat. That's just not even believable to me. I'm sorry. You could say, oh, they're in love. They met each other, these two puppets for elitist power. It's like, nah, man, we're watching a script. So they see them on the boat. So now Trudeau is in the forefront of the public mind. And then controlled opposition Poilievre goes on naive perspective, northern perspective, and he sits down for a cakewalk. I want to know. It's like, don't ask this guy about any of the numerous relevant issues that he's not speaking to. I'm an independent journalist. I want to know about you as a man and your character. Get the fuck out of here, guys. That's synthetic. It's fake. And if these people are sincere, then they're being duped. They're being duped probably by having Pierre Poilievre come on. It's a big deal, right? He wants to get him on and suck his ass like all these other guys are doing. It's so lame and it's so transparent. But Pierre tells this sanctimonious diatribe, and I believe it's a fiction, about this poor woman that spent her last money for the savior of Canada, Pierre Poilievre. Get out of here with that shit. And then he mentions Trudeau, and the Trudeau should be in jail. And there's the psyop. So now it's like all of the talking heads are just parroting that narrative, and everyone's talking about this. It's truly phenomenal, man. Like I say, it's like a magician's trick, how fast we could be misdirected. But yeah, if you guys think, and I hear everyone say, well, Trudeau did this and that. This agenda has been going on since Trudeau's father, at the very least, and in other parts of the world entirely since 1913, you could say, but almost always. We were born into this. And if you think for a minute, listen to this carefully, if you think for a minute that Justin Trudeau was anywhere near the levers of power, then you're irredeemably naive, and you have to change your framing. That's not how things work. People like Trudeau don't make decisions. That's an insulatory layer. That's the public face of the regime that rules the West, if you must know. And I don't know how you can't know this time, unless it's like willful ignorance. And that's what I see again. I said, I had mentioned when people like because I'll make a post about Pierre Poilievre like it's controlled opposition. He's in on it in some capacity. And right away, I get people that are attacking me, but it's different, man. I get a sense that they're projecting their own insecurities because you can't not see this presently. We were duped. And I mean, it's not a black pill, but I'll tell you in all sincerity, if we endeavor to remove the rot that has embedded itself in our institutions, then we have to know how deep the rot goes. It's a prerequisite for effectively removing it. So we have True West. The ostrich situation is related to the bill's government control overreaching with no recourse to correct. I understand that. I sincerely do. And that's the sophisticated nature of the way they're doing this in Canada. Like, the timing is too suspect. I believe it's a distractionary thing. And I'm not saying, when I say that, I'm not saying it's not important, and I'm not trivializing this, but I'm saying that they're doing this this terrible thing in order to then do something over here out of view. It's classic, like, magician style Penn and Teller misdirection. Just on a larger scale. But no, I would never trivialize that. And it is indicative of a lot of the broader issues, the government overreach specifically. I 100% agree with that. So if I could ask everyone once again to share this post, it would be excellent. I very much appreciate it. Prairie, Katy Perry. Yeah. So I knew there was something weird with that right away. I'm like, this is just odd. And I get it. Like, at first, I didn't think of it entirely in the psyop mode. I mean, I'm not nuts, guys, believe it or not. But I thought that's odd. Like, and it was getting a lot of exposure. And I know people love to hate Trudeau because he's the fall guy for the WEF in Canada. Don't think for a minute that Harper didn't sign all these things. Like, what? I don't know. Again, I hate, but it's incredulous to me that, like, I don't know, man. Wake up, guys. Come on at this point, especially with Pierre Poilievre. Like, what he's doing is serving as a pressure relief valve. So when people are getting mad now and they're going to see, it's like, oh, it's Pierre Poilievre. Yeah, he's saying some things that are vaguely resembling opposition. Again, it's kind of shocking to me. It just seems like it's not only is it scripted and performative, it's like, at this point, it's like, these writers are trash. If you guys need some help, like, I'll take an offer. Like, this isn't even believable anymore. It's not working. And that's why they're desperate to censor us. Look, guys, the last phase of the agenda, to take away our free speech, to take away our political recourse, to have the right to censor us from the rest of the world, to have the right to shut us off and cut us off from communication. In order to do all this, they have to silence us. Like, they can't. The fact that we're able to openly take to social media and criticize the regime. I have friends from Iran, and friends from China, and in totalitarian societies, the people just know inherently you cannot criticize the regime. And that's what's being normalized in the West presently. You see that with Keir Starmer's England. I think in 2024, it was 12,000 citizens for social media posts. I believe it's over 30,000 for social media posts. That's where we're at, right? Like, it's Orwellian, it's dystopian, it's all of the above. And it's being normalized because ultimately they don't want to have to prosecute all this. They don't want to have to dedicate resources to this. They want us all to be afraid. And with the fear comes compliance. When you see your neighbor who criticized the regime getting scrutinized by the regime, getting dragged into court and potentially fined and jailed, you're probably going to be a little less likely to criticize the regime. The regime. As Carney's Canada effectively joined the EU, NP Noble Press. That's seemingly the direction, right? Like, Carney said something with his first meeting with Trump when Trump was on the 51st state angle, and he said the people that own Canada don't want to sell it. It's not for sale. Some iteration of that sentiment. I don't remember the verbatim quote. But I thought right away, and a lot of other people did too. It's funny he says that because the Commonwealth countries are controlled by a faction of this Anglo-American alliance, by this the true rulers of the world. And again, I'm not going to go into depths of trying to substantiate that. I will make a book recommendation because this book augmented the way I perceive such things, and it's called Tragedy and Hope 101 by Joseph Plummer. I've been talking a lot about this book recently. I actually read it through 3 times. It's not super long. It's a summation of Tragedy and Hope by Carroll Quigley that came out in the 60s. He was writing a book about secret societies and power structures of America and geopolitically at the time. And he was granted access to a lot of things that that writers afterwards weren't granted access to. And he tells a compelling story. The book was kept out of print. They after they read what Quigley wrote, they were desperate to keep that knowledge hidden. But it's coming out now, and Joseph Plummer wrote a great summation of this, which it's like a 1,200-page book. It's like a history textbook. But I recommend everyone reading it. It's called Tragedy and Hope 101 by Joseph Plummer. I will actually clip a link to the free audiobook underneath this podcast because it gives you some insight. So it's like I say, when you're watching all of this, if all of these things were happening in a vacuum in Canada, for instance, if we could say, well, we have this weaponized mass migration, it's synthetically inflated the housing market to where that's unattainable. It's driven up rental price as a result of scarcity. It's fucked our healthcare over. The Cloward Piven strategy, it's overwhelming and destabilizing our systems. All of these things, the climate propaganda, the anthropogenic climate change narratives, all of it. If that was just happening here, you could say like, well, yeah, it's very corrupt or ineffective politicians, or it's really bad, poorly thought out policies, and everything's above board. But the fact that all of these immensely detrimental policies are being implemented everywhere, especially the Commonwealth countries, but all through the EU as well, except for Poland and Hungary, were able to resist a little bit, Italy a little. That kind of, it lends credence to the fact that there is an external force that is guiding us this way. The Great Reset. And I've said before, and I truly believe this, if you're calling people that are theorizing about this right now, if you're giving them the old conspiracy theorist admonishment, and you're not brave enough to look into this yourself, then you're not just being naive. It's like you're agent smithing them. Like it's like there's a narrative and like someone's deviated from it. So I'm gonna like, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like what I'm saying, very poorly, I might add. What I'm trying to say is that if you can't see the external forces guiding us right now, then you're likely horrendously naive or you're in denial. The people that can see this are not paranoid. They're being objective. I'm a relatively objective, rational individual, and I'm trying to make sense of this. I'm trying to get a framing, like a coherent framing for what I'm seeing. And our politicians acting in the interests of their constituents, us, the people, that framing it's incongruous with the evidence of what we're seeing. That's an impossibility. There's no way that is the case. There's an agenda being implemented. And they know a lot of us can see it presently. So it's like I said, it's absolutely paramount for them to pass some kind of censorial legislation in order to prevent this obstacle, us talking to each other. Imagine. But that's where we are. Barbara Brigman. I don't know how Canadians can't see their price is being taken away. Not sure what you mean there, but I can't believe Canadians can't see that our country is being very obviously transitioned into some shade of fascist hellscape. A big government, post-national globalist district, a resource/labor colony, where we're being transformed from citizens into debt-ridden wage slaves. I say this smugly or sarcastically. I'm smiling. Like it's just at this point, like I've gone through this so much. All I get is resistance when I'm trying to tell people. There's a lot of other people that can see this, thank God, or I'd probably have checked myself in somewhere by now. But I don't know, you get a little jaded. You definitely get a little jaded with all this stuff, and you get a little frustrated because again, people are just, and it's like a cognitive dissonance or a bias of some kind, but when you're trying to provide like circumstantial evidence or tangible evidence and you're trying to substantiate your premise by making a good argument, like people just get mad at you. It's like, how dare you? And it's phenomenal to me again. And I realize there's like a deeper psychological problem with collectives, with groups. Even going back to like Plato discussed that, right? Watching the leaders of Athens um, put to death Socrates, his teacher. And he realized a lot of things and had some great insights about the madness of crowds back then. So it's just a feature of our nature. And this is what I say with this right left thing. I'm definitely conservative. I'm Catholic. I there's some things I'm liberal about as well, but I'm definitely more to the right. But I don't believe in the right left dialectic the way it's framed in politics today. I think it's literally a mechanism of our control. So I've gotten into this before, but it's relevant, so I'll break it down again. We're genetically predisposed to certain temperament, and then we're temperamentally predisposed to certain political leanings. Those high in openness and creativity tend to lean to the left, and those who are high in conscientiousness and orderliness tend to lean to the right. But this is a spectrum between the five big personality groups. So I mean, most people are kind of in the middle, and then the people that have those personality traits in abundance, they more on the perimeters. It's the more polarized aspect of it. But we come on these social media platforms and we're led to believe it's the collective left. It's the left. And we don't see the left as like, some rational left-leaning person that's, trying to interpret what's going on. We see the left in the most radical form, right? At the woke left or whatever. And you see this with the right too. When they look at the right, they see the same thing. They see the ethno-nationalist aspect or the super ultra nationalist conservative aspect. Like, there is no collective right and there is no collective left. That's a myth. It's an illusion, essentially. It's part of the psyop. And then what we do is we can interpret people from an out group. Ooh, you're of the left. You're from a political out group. Now I can dehumanize you and do whatever I want. And we see that more frequently with the left doing it to the right. Because I know right now you're all saying that's what they do to us. There is no us. There is no them. There's the people. We got to stop looking left and right, and we have to start looking up. And it's very clear. And that's why they're desperate to get us back in our ideological camps, because they know a lot of people have seen through this right left bullshit. It's literally the mechanism in which they herd us. Just think about it. And like through my whole lifetime, and I watch this in America and Canada. That's where I follow politics mostly. But I mean, we defected from the blue team to the red team. And back and forth. And despite this back and forth, the trajectory never alters. There's never any substantive changes that occur. And we keep going forward. And where are we going? We're going to more centralized control. We're going into the fence. We're being herded into the fence by this right-left dialectic. And we're participating in our own subjugation. Again, it's not just me saying this. There are a lot of people online that are saying this now. Just accept it for a moment and try to frame things and see, like, if you were I'll put it this way. If you were an elite power system desperate to hold on to power, would you not take advantage of that proclivity for masses to go left and right? So what it does is it creates this at the forefront. You look at 2008, for instance. Occupy Wall Street was happening, and that's what you were seeing. You were seeing the populist right and the populist left kind of realize that some of these ideological preferences are not as important as some of the other things, like what's going on with the monetary system. Why is it a debt-based usury fiat currency? Why do the 1% control so much power? Just rational things like that. So then what happens right after 2008 is I find this culture war comes to the forefront. Now there's all these like hot topic culture war issues, and they're all sponsored by Pfizer and corporations and things. And that's put to the forefront. Why? So we react to it and creates this cycle. They don't care what side of these issues you fall on. as long as you fall in line on one side or the other. They want us arguing about transgender people going into bathrooms when we should be concerned with the people that are turning our society into a technocratic, totalitarian hellscape. Like they're literally constructing the technocratic system around us, and we're arguing with each other over ideological preferences. I'll tell you something else here today, and you heard it from me. We can have unity without ideological uniformity. We can. We've had it before. We're in a moment of hyperpolarization politically. So again, the people that are blaming the left, it's everyone's the left. You're seeing it in that groupthink. And it's very clear now. I find it phenomenal that we can't see how bad we're being manipulated. That's why I'm here. One of the biggest reasons too, I came on here. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I came on here about 2.5 years ago, 2 years and a few months. I verified once Elon bought it, and I verified my account, and I got on here, man, and I was conservative. At this I was very much in this right-left dialectic, and I was on the right, and I was here to just own the libs. I was here to perpetuate this, and that's what I did. I'm a good writer. I'm a good speaker, and I got on here, and my content resonated with people because I was falling into these traps, right? This dialectic trap. And I amassed an audience doing so. But then along the way, you start to see it. I don't know how people can't. I secretly think some of them know. It's like if you're on here grifting on the culture war, man, you're just perpetuating this psyop. You're perpetuating the division. I really believe that. But I got on here and started doing that until I seen past it. And since then, I've been trying to tell people, and I've been trying to call other people out, because what really concerned me, I came here to get some truth, knowing full well that the mainstream media was lying to us profoundly. They're just, disseminating narratives for the regime. So I come on X, and then what do I see? I fell for some of these people. Like I'm following like CAC Canada and the Pleb, and I've mentioned him before. I mentioned him frequently. But I followed these guys, and I thought they were independent. I was naive, man. I got on here, and I was arguing with the bots and everything at first. Like, I didn't know what all this was. But I mean, after watching these people, like, they're not being objective in any regard. They're not trying to provide or offer an analysis of anything or something substantive from a political standpoint that could give you some good information. They're hero worshiping the opposition. That's what they're doing. They literally, and I'm not going to insinuate or make any declarations. This is conjecture, but they're either directly working for the CPC or they're audience captured, profoundly so, to where they're just pushing this. And they're all trying to prop up the other guys. There's smaller Pierre Poilievre deals on there that are starting to come up. And it's just, they don't want to inform you. They present themselves as independent or alternative, and they're the farthest thing from it. It's the same partisan slop you got on the mainstream media, just from the other end. And it's just as disingenuous. But one of the good things, and this is a really good thing, it's never been easier to spot these people. It's never been easier to spot. Their mask is slipping, allowing us to see the vile rhetoricians that they truly are. I have a lot of people that tell me, like, no, you shouldn't be calling people out. It's complex right now. Everyone's trying to interpret it. I get that. I do, but we don't have the luxury of time. And what these people are doing by continuing to prop up Pierre Poilievre, who's clearly in on it, but by continuing to prop up Pierre Poilievre, they're legitimizing the controlled opposition of Pierre Poilievre. And they're proactively preventing the Canadian electorate from seeing any alternative. It's just Pierre, that's the way to go. It's like this herd dog scares the herd over to this guy here, and he's going to protect them. And then this guy here scares them back. And that's the ping pong of the populace. It's very phenomenal. We have about 260-ish watching presently. If you guys can share, it's immensely beneficial. Again, I'm very deboosted in the algorithm. If you listen to the show thus far, you probably see why. I'm a nice guy. I'm here to make friends if possible. But that's not why I came here. I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to figure out what's going on. I came here to talk to authentic individuals that are also trying to interpret what's going on, knowing that we're being lied to from these institutions. So I think I'm well within my rights to start calling some of these disingenuous characters out. It's all synthetic, man. You watch Rachel Gilmore, who's saying like the most ridiculous, stupid liberal junk, and that's inspiring everyone from this side to fire back. And then you got the pleb, and it's the same thing, and that's getting everyone here. It's like it's a mechanism of control. I'm not saying left-right preferences don't exist. They very much do exist. I again, and I clarify, I'm more of the right. I'm more of a conservative. But right now, what we're seeing politically, it's synthetic. And it's so hyper polarized presently that we forget that we can have unity without ideological uniformity. We don't need everyone to think exactly like we think. We don't need everyone to have the same skin color as us, neither. The ethno-nationalism. Listen, guys, I get it. There's the weaponized mass migration that has occurred in Canada. It's decimated our economy. It's balkanized our electorate, and it's profoundly changed the landscape of our country. But I mean, you can't turn around then and just equate it to a racial distinction. I mean, Canada was never really a multicultural place. That word is stupid, but it was multiracial. And I mean, we were all Canadians to an extent. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like we had this super like ethnocentric ethos in Canada. I never seen that until very recently. And I'm not trying to cuck for anyone, man. I hear everyone now, oh yeah, he supports this. And no, I don't, man. The weaponized mass migration is terrible. Don't lose your humanity. Don't lose your humanity. Just don't. It's not about the white race. That's crazy. That's crazy. You're being manipulated. You've fallen into this dialectic. We have to the weaponized mass migration, number one, it has to stop. Anyone who's here illegally has to go home, and we have to reimagine the immigration system entirely. Number one, we have to have a moratorium. Like I'm not pro immigration presently. I'm not, but I'm not anti-immigrant because these people are not our enemy, man. They're not at all. A lot of these people are decent people. They come from very different cultures, but they've been manipulated by our government too. You got to remember this. Weaponized mass migration serves the regime. It doesn't serve us, and it certainly doesn't serve the people that are coming here. So it's like I said, I would like to appeal to everyone to maintain your humanity. Like you really get to see who people are when times get hard. And don't forget that you're human. Seriously, because once you start interpreting people as individuals from an outgroup and not other human beings, then you're capable of just unfathomable atrocities. You dehumanize them, then you can rationalize doing just nasty things. And we've seen this time and time again. So I hate to see this in Canada. I hate to see it anywhere because things are broader than that. Things are way more complicated than that. Don't reduce people to their immutable characteristics and then think you know them. Good and evil as it exists, it's figured out in the individual's heart, not the group. Don't become one of the masses. Because that's what they want, right? They want us to collectivize with different identity groups. That's where you get intersectionality, right? It's like intersectionality is a convergence of these different systemically oppressed identity groups. And you're seeing it now on the right, but with like political identities and stuff. It's phenomenal, man. They want us divided based upon every metric. They want us divided based on race, religion, age. You hear a lot of people blaming the boomers. That's nuts, man. We were born into a psyop. We were born into a system that's rigged. And again, we're living through an era now where you could actually research this and find it to be true. There's a lot of evidence of it. And then there's a preponderance of circumstantial evidence. Just look around. Try to make sense of the fact that every one of the Commonwealth countries are implementing the same detrimental policies. And not just the Commonwealth countries, like most of the West, most of the Anglosphere are implementing the same detrimental policies. Make that make sense. But that's where we are. See if we got some more questions. Tony Van. Animal Farm is here. Yeah, we're on some kind of human farm, man. And it's sophisticated too, right? Because we're ideologically subverted. We get it through our school curriculum to accept all these just trash conceptual framings. Let's look at the gender thing for one moment. Gender is an abstract. Sex is gender, first of all, because it was always known as sex. But sex is now reinterpreted as gender. And gender is an abstract. It's fluid, it's malleable, and it could be interpreted in an infinite amount of expressions. That's what we're teaching kids right now. That's predicated on very bad postmodernist philosophy. It's like social constructivism. It's not accepted in any realm, but we teach it as gospel to children. It's wild, but we get it, and we get it from all of the news media. We get it from any form of media. They very much control this. Look at Netflix. It's like you're not watching programs; you're being programmed. This is Yuri Bezmenov style ideological subversion. But then, I mean, it's like there's fluoride in the water that's known. Like this isn't a conspiracy theory anymore. That's known to lower the IQ of people. Convinced it must be there's something that's making us more submissive to. But testosterone rates have dropped immensely over the last 20 years. Um, it's like we're being kept. It's like we're kept on some kind of farm, and we're like the chattel. We're like the cattle or chattel slaves, where they just manipulate us. They give us crazy chemicals in our food supply. They make us dumb. We're led to believe just nonsensical, fallacious things. It's very secular too, right? Because they have to do away with God. You can't justify this unless you do away with God. So we live in a very, that's the worst and probably the biggest lie. Like, I don't know. Now I'm biased. I'm Catholic and I believe in God, but like to look around at the world, to exist in this world, to be conscious, and then to just think automatically that there's no God. It's like you come across a beautiful pizza and you're going to come up with these elaborate like scenarios on how this pizza could have came into existence by itself, while overlooking the elephant in the room explanation, which is it was made by someone. There's a pizza cook. It was an odd way to frame that, but here we are. I'm awesome at going off on tangents too, guys, if you haven't noticed. So I try to keep it fairly coherent, but it's an eternal struggle for me. Kirk Reese, stay awesome. The truth scares most people. It certainly does. Certainly does, especially groups of people. Soft totalism, domestication. Yeah, 100%. And what we see is like in the media, we've emasculated Western man. All of the situational comedies really were really successful in that because they show this buffoonish male with this like very assertive female that you know is getting through life not with the help of her loving husband, but in spite of his buffoonish nature. And that's the formula for all the sitcoms. So that had an emasculating effect. And then we have an infantilization effect with how easy everything is. I grew up in a post-industrial part of Eastern Canada. It's the northern part of Nova Scotia. It's called Cape Breton. And before when I was a very young child and before my time, there was a ton of industry there. This was before they deindustrialized Canada. There were steel plants, there were mines, there was a robust fishery, and there was a good economy to be had there. But for my lifetime, it was deindustrialized. So we get into the post-industrial era. And I'll tell you, welfare culture, government handout culture is just bigger in post industrial areas. I know of people where it's multi-general welfare recipients. They have no understanding or comprehension of the role of government. They think the government is there to literally provide your life for you. So it's definitely occurring. We have call it domestication, but it's infantilizing, it's emasculating. These are some of the ways they're doing this. Yeah, there's a lot of paradox. There's a lot of paradoxical things in comprehending God. When you get into that realm, it's there's a lot of little things you could say like that, and It's again, and that's why it comes to faith. And faith is very frequently it's misinterpreted. Like a lot of people will say by definition, it's believing in something without empirical evidence. And I get that. Sure, that's a very cynical view, but I think it's understanding, having an inherent understanding of the irreducible complexity of what we're seeing, and seeing intelligence there, seeing a mind there. I definitely I can't look at the miracle. I can't look at the just the way everything works perfectly, like the fine tuning of everything, and just assume that we're just this cosmic accident. I have faith. I believe there is a God. Is there ways, like, man, I could give you 10 arguments against that. I'm not going to get into theism versus atheism or non-theism, and it's just not my specialty. But yeah, that's about it with the questions. So I'll wrap it up. I want you guys to just think a little bit. If you can endeavor to just critically analyze what's occurring presently. When you see something on X or anywhere that elicits or evokes an intense emotional reaction, just know that that's probably the intention of what you're seeing. It's like sometimes your enemy's true action is your reaction. So we have to be profoundly aware of that in psychological warfare. And that's what's going on right now. The misdirection is phenomenal. Pierre Poilievre is like providing a feckless illusion of opposition while the agenda is being implemented. They brought Trudeau back from last season of Canada to kind of misdirect us even further. Everyone's like, oh, Trudeau should be arrested. Sure, man. Like, these people are all treasonous in my estimation. You can make a compelling argument that they should all be arrested. But I mean, at the end of the day, these people are the actors that are playing the ruling class. And I truly believe that. But anyway, I want you to thank you all sincerely for tuning in. This is Dumb the Wiser. And actually, before I go, I'm going to tell you tomorrow I will be on inlay terms with Payman Askari. We're going to be sitting down with Kirk Reese, whistleblower, military whistleblower. And then after that, I have our new project, The Philosopher, the Stoic, and the Teddy Bear. And that's with Chris Erickson and Payman Askari. That's 3 p.m. every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, with that said, guys, thanks for tuning in. My name's JP Berg, and this is Dumb the Wiser. Cheers.